again and share you some information, some update about the Vinchin Backup and Recovery version 9. It's been a long time since we have released this new version. So we want to share this some updates, some new function or some optimization about our product. So now today's uh, webinar will contain three different parts: the virtualization and the public and the security part, and the third part is some modify about the web. So now we can start from the first part of the virtualization and some basic uh, adaptation. Okay, here are some contents about this slide. Uh, Maybe you will prepare some time to hear this webinar. So from 8.8.1 to 9.0, there's some optimization. First, we set the permanent incremental backups, and it cannot be enabled with the compression. Otherwise, the data will grow longer and longer, and as it is merged, modifications to the backup chain merge. And second, the performance issues compared to the competitors, backup and restore speeds are slow. So features are such as support for multiple virtual machines, multiple disks, and multi-threading for single task are currently only available on Huawei FC. And third one, regarding the narrowing gap between our virtualization module and those of our competitors, we will maintain and further expand our lead through the new features such as the automated verification, virus scanning, emergency takeover, any migration, and granular recovery options. And here are some optimized functions on version 9. First module, the WinWord backup, we added the source side compression and asynchronous transmission, scan, virtualization optimization. And for Huawei Fusion Compute, parallel transmission, we set the parallel transmission for the virtual machine. And next part, the data merge, permanent incremental data merge, and the full and incremental differential merge. And for the backup and restore for all the modules, we set the job retry, virus scanning, integrated check, overload protection. And for backup, we can set the wall. For the restore, we set the virtual machine configuration optimization. And for the granular store, there are three different ways: the web download optimization, client transmission, SMB, network mount recovery. And for the instant restore, we can restore to our DR lab. And for the migration, any cross-platform, now we support any platform. And auto disk format conversion, config conversion, driver replacement, and boot repair. And here are some new compatibility and features. For the virtualization module in the job center, add the modify backup policies without stopping jobs. Changes take effect in next backup. In the VM filter, support multiple conditions for include, exclude. For Hyper-V, we set the added instance in store to DRGL platform, migration back to original platform, not supported yet. Uh, and we also support the Lenovo AIOs, support the Huawei Cloud Stack. Not only support this version, the 8.1.1. Then if you have some requirement about the HCS, there's also a lot of restrictions about the storage and the version. Also the storage version, I mean that. Okay, here are some explanations. For the expansion, we support the source side compression available for vSphere 9.5 and later. NBD SSL mode compresses data at source to reduce network traffic and speed up the backups. And compression method support uh, fast the fast LZ, the Z-lib, skip Z. There's different compression method, and also available for this astronomous transmission available for VMware 6.6.7 and NVD SSL mode improves transfer speed, disabled by default. For WinBer expansion, the virtualization scan optimization, adding the virtualization centers greatly reduces the full scan time. Here's some improvement about the virtualization scan. And for VM filter, we support match by name keyword, exclude by name keyword, and also support the multiple keywords simultaneously. The next one is our backup chain merge optimization. We fixed some issues like the data grows after merge, redundant data cannot be reclaimed. The merge requires the updating all the dependent point metadata and merge abort breaks a backup chain. All these issues are fixed. So only applies to cloud and full machine permanent incremental backups. File level permanent incremental is different. And here for the file logs, read log and write log are mutually exclusive. And backup point merge, only modify bitmap and data files of two merged points reduces the merge time. And for the data merge and delete, um, it's as terminus and page sends the message and proceeds. Background processing reduces UI read time. And for the new version, we also add this retry policy for the backup policy. In the virtualization module, retry for backup, restore migration, cross-platform restore. Yeah, you can customize the retry policy for your job. The network retry means reconnect on communication timeout for data transfer in long operations. The operation retry can set the disk open, disk read, disk write, and job retry it is off by default. And you can retry, and it is retry only failed objects and retry all objects. Also, you can set the retry all objects succeed within the retries. And you can also set the no job retry for post-instant restore migration. For the security policy, this version we add the worm protection and virus detection. The worm protection that means the backup points with worm enabled cannot be modified or deleted before the expiration. retention period can only be extended, and virus detection is automatically runs the verification job after the backup to scan the backup data for virus. And the next useful feature is integrate check. It generates a unique checksum on backup data creation, which checks before the backup and restore. Then in the integrated check allows the system to perform integrated verification on previous points for reference during the verification circle and generate the information files at the current backup time point in time. In preparation for subsequent comparisons, and differential backups rely on the full backup point. Therefore, during each integrated check, the differential backup only verifies the full backup point. And next point is the other advanced configuration. First, the redundant data merge ratio. Clean invalid data if the exceeds ratio bigger than the merge redundant data proportion. And the data shared file size, the size of the data file shares stored at a given point in time. This value is used to manage the creation and the reclamation of the storage data files. And here's the menu, ignore node resource limit. For jobs with higher priority, you can enable this setting to bypass the node resources limit. Limit the maximum number of the concurrent jobs. Specify time periods during which the job is rehabbed from the running. And next point, for Huawei Fusion Compute KVM transmission strategy, we support the parallel transmission for backup and restore job. A single job transfer in virtual machines and their disks simultaneously based on the specified number of parallel processes, thereby improving transfer efficiency. Here are three the three label parallel VMs per jobs, parallel disks per VM, threads per disk. You can set it 1 to 8. And for the public part, the restore part, here's some configurations on virtual machine. You can check the operating system before the restore, and Vinchin will detect the drivers. Here's no more restore, keep original config, and for the cross-platform recovers. It performs a rough match between the operating system type and version saved at a specific point in time and the target platform. If no match is found or an incorrect match is detected, you must manually select or modify the settings. And when you perform the restore, here's also a menu to set the disk. When you restore to the original platform, non-unified configurations, the target storage and storage type is restored to match the source type by default. And unified configurations, the target storage with the largest capacity is selected by default. And if you want to restore to another platform, the target storage is automatically selected at the one with the largest capacity. And we perform the restore, the cross-platform restore bus type selection. For the cross-platform disk restores, the bus type defaults to matching the source type. And for VMware SCSI and the TVM SCSI bus type are not equivalent. And if the source bus type does not match the target bus type, the disk bus type priority is virtual SCSI and IDE. And if you restore to VMware priority, the Linux VMware virtual SCSI and Windows will select the LSI logic SAS. And here are the configurations about the network and some advanced settings. Network configuration is disabled by default. When enabled, IPv4 and IPv6 is configured automatically by default. And you can also set manually configurations. And in the advanced part, power on after you can set the power on after the recovery, reset the host name, reset the BIOS UUID, and here are some other explanations about this. The next part about the granular recovery. The granular recovery jobs are commonly encountered in daily use, but issues such as network support for the complex disk structures, recover failures on newer operating systems, slow file download speed, and limited functionality have prevented them from being compatible with a wider range of the complex scenarios. Building on the original design concept for granular recovery, we have restructured the functionality to address existing issues, enhance compatibility with more scenarios, and expand support for granular recovery jobs across additional modules. In uh, the first scenario, the granular recovery job creation, the support module support virtualization, public cloud scheduled for machine backup, and this is new in version 9 in real time for machine backup. And recoverable data support the four backup points, mental backup points, different backup points, support the simultaneously recovery from the multiple times points. And recovery method can create a disaster recovery host and mount point-in-time data to the host. And for security policies, backup point various scanning policy, integrated check policy are supported. And when the granular recovery job running, here are three different ways to realize the data recovery. The first, the file download. You can check the files or folders and download them directly to the local device. And second mode is the client transfer. Check files or folders and create a transfer job and send them directly to the client, similar to the file recovery function. And the third way is the network share. Check folders and create a shared link based on the SMB protocol. Local computer can mount the shared folder to the local device via the link address. And here are three different approaches to finish the granular recovery. And how to do it when you perform the granular recovery job, you need to select the backup point. Only a single backup point can be selected to create the granular recovery job, and the selected point will be displayed in the selected backup points list. And here's the general policy on this diagram. The operating systems are categorized as Windows or Linux, and You need to select Windows for Windows backup time points, the select Linux for Linux points. And the granular recovery module can accurately identify the operating system type and automatically select the corresponding operating system. And next part is the security policy. The backup point virus scan policy, you can select the different scan policies based on the status of different backup points. And integrated verification policy to configure the integrated verification policy based on the backup job. And in the last menu, the advanced strategy set the overload protections, ignore the node limits. And here, this is our DRVM list in our DR lab. When you create the granular restore job, it will establish this DR virtual machine in our lab. First, when the granular recovery job is initiated, the last recovery virtual machine is automatically created. And once the granular recovery job is stopped, the disaster recovery virtual machine is automatically deleted. And okay, after you establish this granular restore job and running it, uh, if you choose to directly download, you can download the files through this web download button. After selecting the files or folders, click the download button. And the backup system generates a compressed file. The browser begins downloading the compressed file. And you can also select the client transfer process. After selecting the files or folders, click the client transfer button, configure the client transfer policy, and submit the job. Uh, Here are some points. First, handle sim name files, rename escape and override policy. And next for the override rule, override the target file if does not match, or if set retain the latest version of the target file is if it is does not match. And the third mode, our network sharing as through the SMB protocols process. After selecting the folder, click the network share button and configure the mount settings, then click OK to submit. Here are some configure access settings. If no restrictions, the system will impose any IP restrictions. Access is permitted from any IP addresses. And for the customer IP addresses, you can restrict access when sharing resources by entering the allowed IP addresses. And you notice the last job, the last button, the transfer or sharing job button. You need to click it and to check and view the transmission jobs and the shared jobs. Then you can manage and set and maybe manage or set your sharing jobs in this screen. Okay, next part, let me introduce the driver library. For the instant recovery to heterogeneous platforms, proxy-based environments, adds to any cross-platform recovery, supports the different platform detection and driver detection during job configuration. Uh, so the in this driver library management, you can see the built-in drivers. Users can also add the drivers they need to on their own, and drivers are automatically replaced during the system boot process, reducing the manual intervention, improving recovery efficiency, and shortening the product POC duration, and also resolves the issue of having to manually add drivers during the system boot. And in this version, in our boot agent management menu, here's a boot image download function. It's called unified multi-architecture boot image consolidation. We support the live CD for Linux and the WinP boot image for the Windows system. This is some a menu prepared for the physical server restoration. And it support automatically web interface image generation. The backup system's web interface can automatically generate the boot images and provide download links without manual intervention by staff. Generated images can be automatically purged from the backend after a certain period. Upon booting, the generated image automatically connects to the backup system, eliminating the need to run script commands. For when you create the image for a certain system for a certain backup, a certain a backup point or your source environment, here are some settings. We provide the graphical user interface. All both images are optimized with the graphical user interface and network configurations on the web interface to reduce the command line operations. The network settings can be configured directly within the web interface when generating the boot image. Alternatively, network parameters can still be reset using the existing command line methods. And for the client-based boot image transfer, install a client on the target recovery machine. The boot image can be transferred directly via the client to the recovery target. After rebooting the target machine, the recovery job can proceed immediately, minimizing steps such as downloading the image or burning it to the physical media. And next, here are some update about the instant recovery. Now we support the instant restore to our DR Lab. Maybe you have some memory about this. I just mentioned it or DR Lab. Uh, and also some a new feature, use case emergency takeover. For example, a customer has only one production system. If the production system goes down and there's no disaster recovery environment, a virtual machine must be quickly spun up to take over the operations. In this case, the system can be instantly restored to our DR lab. And for instant restore third-party virtualization, the support for NFS, ASCAS protocols and their access controls. If no restrictions, the system will not impose any IP restrictions, and access is permitted from any IP address. If customer IP addresses, if you wish to restrict access when sharing the resource, please enter the IP addresses you wish to allow. And when you perform the virtual machine configuration, here are some advanced script after recovery. Yeah, the execution of a script depends on the system environment. For example, if Python is not installed, Python scripts cannot be executed. Similarly, if the database is not installed, SQL statements cannot be executed. Linux currently supports only Python and Shell scripts. Windows supports the Shell, Bat, Python, Circle, and the PS1 scripts. Mm, re- And for resolving the issue, manually opening the certain applications or programs is required for virtual machines that have been instantly restored, verifying the health status of the key application, etc. For the instant restore, we also support the instant recovery migration. And in this part, you can choose to stop the instant recovery job automatically or manually after migration is complete. If you select automatically stop, the instant recovery job will stop really and release the resources once migration is complete. And if you select the manual stop, the job will revert to running as an instant recovery job after migration is complete until you manually stop it to release the resources. And when performing the migration job, if the virtual machine that was temporarily restored is still in use, cache data will continue to be generated. In this case, if you want to ensure that all data is migrated, you can choose to complete the process manually. And migration can be configured for automatic completion or manual confirmation of the completion. For automatic completion, after point-in-time data transfer is complete, the power to the instant recovery virtual machine will be automatically shut down, and any dirty data generated during the shutdown process will be migrated. And if you choose the manual completion, after point-in-time data transfer is complete, the power to the instant recovery machine will not be automatically shut down. Instead, the cache data generated during the migration will be migrated at the regular intervals until the user manually confirms in completion. And next, for the instant recovery migration support platform, now you can see we support such a lot of platform, the virtualization cloud and the physical server, and the recovery proposition and support platform make that is a compatibility you can check if you want. And for the driver detection, after the migrating to a virtualized or cloud platform, you can no longer modify disk or network driver types exclude disks and change host names. And when migrating to a platform with an agent, uh, heterogeneous environments must be detected. When migrating to the platform without an agent, this is another required. So this is also some key point you need to notice. And the instant restore to any platform during the migration. When migrating back to the original platform, ensure that driver-related configurations for the operating system, the secondary disks, network cards, and the other components match those of the backup port. When migrating to the instant restore target platform, ensure that the driver-related configuration match the instant restore configuration. And here are also some notice you need to care about when you want to set the instant recovery and instant migration. And next part is our cross-platform recovery. Maybe you notice that now we support the any-to-any migration in this new version. We support the virtualization, public cloud, and physical server, and all these different types of the data, the full backups, incremental backups, the different differential backups are all supported. Uh, so the functional configuration for the cross-platform recovery is identical to that of the same platform recovery on the target platform. When we added the B2P, C2P, P2V, and P2C cross-platform capabilities. And virtualization instance recovery has been migrated to the agent-based recovery, and cross-platform recovery to agent-based recovery supports only host boot via boot image. And during the cross-platform process, data format conversion, configuration information conversion, automatic driver replacement, and automatic boot repair are all performed automatically. And the next one I want to mention is our data verification. That is a full recoverability verification. Verifies data from the data source and simulates an isolated environment identical to the production network where the source data resides, enabling verification of multiple network architecture configurations, such as the network verification and client-server architecture verification. For the verification method, the verification type contains the automatic verification and the manual verification. The DR lab also support the automatic creation or customization. For verification source selection, we support optional application group verification object. For the general configuration, now support the select the time point, the CPU mode, CPU architecture, CPU socket count, core per socket, memory size, operating system time, and operating system version. And for verification, configuration in this menu, support of network verification, heartbeat verification, boot result screenshot verification, various scanning, integrated check, maximum boot waiting time. And for the network configurations, support the config IP address, subnet mask, default gateway, MAC address, and in detection in this part means it contains different platform the detection, driver detection. And the last one, the last function module is verification policy. In general configuration, can startup mode, can set startup mode, verify by time schedule or verify immediately. And in advanced configuration, they support the backup node IP address, number of concurrent verification objects that ignore the node resources constraints. Okay, here are some details. The backup data verification and security scanning. A support scan of the backup data do not simulate the production environment where the source data resides. This process enables a data integrity verification and full system security scanning. Okay. You can see on this table the verification tape. If you select the auto verification, the general configuration, you can select the time point, operating system type, and in the verification configuration, you can set the virus scanning and integrate check. And for the verification policy, here are some general and also the general and advanced the configurations. Okay, so this is the first part introduction about about the update for virtualizations and uh some public operations about the backup and restore. Uh, Let me just stop here and transfer my mic to Trudy. She will show you the some operations, the real operation demos. Okay.
Can you hear my voice? Okay. This is a 2D and technical support from Vinchin, and today I will show you the core changes from between the version 8 and the version 9. Firstly, let's start take a look at the virtualization backup and the restore process. Firstly, if we want to create the backup job, we need to add the storages in advance. And you can see version 9 has categorized the storages into two modules. And the first module is the backup storage, which contains the ordinary storage devices. And the second is a type storage. And in the backup storage, we can add the storage in advance here and click the add button. And you can see a wide range of the storages Vinchin version 9 supported. And and comparing into the version 8, version 9 has no longer restrict the storage usage, such as use the backup storage as the copy purpose or the archive purpose. All the storages are in a general purpose. And it's worth to mention that version 9 has introduced a worm protection configuration, which means write once and read many. If we enable this feature, it can protect our backup data with the strongest method, and anyone, included Vinchin applications, cannot modify the backup data stored in this storage until the worm protection periods expire. And we can set the space allocation and the allocated size here. You can see that I have added so many different types of storages here. And in version 9, to guarantee the high successful rate of the backup tasks, we have introduced the storage resource pool. And click add button, and we can see we support three types of storage pool, which is centralized storage. It consists of local disk, SGAS storages, and the NAS storage, which is consists of NFS or CIFS, and the cloud storage pool. With those storage pools, it can prevent backup task failures caused by the storage offline. And here you can see I have prepared two storage pools in advance. After we added the backup storages, we can start creating the backup jobs for the objects. Comparing to the version 8, version 9 has categorized the business modules into three categories, which is backup, CDP, and replication. And we can create the normal backup for the different business module here in under the backup room section. Let's take the virtualization backup for example. And here we can select the infrastructures we have added to Vinchin platform. And today, let's take the vSphere, VMware vSphere backup for example. And we can select the VMs. We can select the VMs we wanted to backup and the VM info, the disk info will be listed on the right side. And we can also enable the auto join backup button here, which means any newly created VMs on this platform will be automatically involved in the backup job. And as we said in our in essence presentation, we can support filter the VMs by multiple keywords to greatly to search for the target VMs we want to involve in this backup task. After select the backup source, let's click next. And here you can see the backup storages and the backup nodes here. And you can see that we display the storage resource pool and the single storage devices here. We can select the resources pools for these backup tasks, and we also can select the storage devices for the backup tasks. But pay attention that if we select the storage resource pool, the associated loads will be displayed and selected by default. It don't need us to select the target nodes manually. But while if we select the storage devices, we need to manually select the computing nodes we want to use here. And today, let's select the local disks in the storage resource pool 2 as our example. And here you can also refer to the notice part for the detailed description about these features. And then click next button. Here we come to the most important part of the job configuration. In the general strategies, it is almost like the configurations in version 8. And for the transmission strategies, here you can see the detailed description about these strategies, and you can see the new features we introduced in our version 9, which is worm protection. If the job associated backup storage has enabled worm protection in advance, we can set the worm protection for the backup data generated by these backup tasks. And also can set the worm protection period. And next is our virus scan. If we enable this feature, Vinchin will perform the virus scan on the backup data, and we have two methods. The first one is stop scanning when the first malware or virus is detected, and the second method is scan all the unscanned backup points. For the scan engine, we have the open source scan virus engine, which is Clown AV, and we also can support Kubisky engine. And here I can show you the various database, and we have Kubisky and the Clown AV. You can enable Kaspersky if you have purchased our special licenses. And we also can manually set the scan thread and choose the scan target. For disk scan or scan the special target. For the priorities of the scanning target for specified targets, you can check the notice here, and it will give you a clear description about this feature. And next is the data integrity check. After we've complete during the final period about the backup tasks, we will generate a checksum value about this backup data, and we will check the value again when we run the next backup. If we detected the data is damaged or not integrate for the different backup points, we have the different handle process. The first is the full backup point. If we find the full backup point abnormal, and we can choose to reduce the full backup job and mark the entire chain as damaged, and we can also choose to terminate the backup directly and mark the entire chain as damaged. For the incremental backup point, if we find it is abnormal, we can choose to reduce the related full backup and mark the corresponding incremental point as damaged. And we also can choose to reduce the incremental only and delete the invalidate incremental point. And we also have the third choice is directly terminate the backup and mark the corresponding incremental point as damaged. And next, we come to the advanced strategies. I will introduce the different strategies compared with version 8. In version 9, we have released the new feature, which is retry strategy. With this retry strategies, it can prevent job failures caused by network or operations like the RPC connections And we can set the retry attempts and retry intervals. For network and operation retry intervals, its unit is seconds, while the job retry, the unit is based on the minutes. For the job retry, we can retry only the field objects in the backup job to avoid redundant backup for the successful object. Method is the most recommended one. And we also can retry all the objects in this backup tasks. And for the storages, we have also introduced some new features. For the first one is the data block size. We can make the most usage of the storages by adjusting the block size here, and you can also have a detailed um, detailed information about this feature using the notice button here. And we also can improve the data merge speed by changing the two values, which is data file shared size and the merge redundant data proportion. And the last one is the overload protection. This is configured to avoid node load crash due to the large backup scales. And also we can enable this to limit the maximum number of the backup coherent backup tasks and prevent the job running in a specific time. So basically, those are the new features about the backup tasks, and we can click the next button. Sorry, move to next button to take an overview about these job configurations and submit this job. And we can see the new job, the newly created job in the monitor center jobs and the VM vSphere backup job here. And this job will run according to the time schedules. And we also can enable this job manually. And I want to introduce you that in version 9, we can edit this job without solving this backup job and changing the job configurations. The changes will be executed during the next backup run. So this is for the VMware backup, and I also want to mention that we support multiple disk transfer. In version 9, we support parallel disk VM backup. We can set the VM count here and the parallel disk transfer for per VMs, and also can set the transfer thread for single disks of the VMs. With this feature, I believe that we can greatly improve the transfer speed. But pay attention that This feature currently is only supported for Huawei Fusion Compute. For another virtualization platform, we will support this feature in the future. It's already in our roadmap. And next, before I introduce you the recovery process, I want to introduce you our new feature, which is the driver library management. You can see the inbuilt drivers of Vinchin here. For the cross-platform and the instant recovery, version 9 requires us to pass the driver detections before we start the recovery. With this driver detection, it will uh, reduce the manual intervention of the boot during the VM boot process, and this embedded inbuilt drivers will be applied to the target VMs automatically. And also you can manually add the drivers you needed here. Okay, after I introduced this driver management, let's come to the recovery process. Vinchin version 9 has grouped all the recovery modules of different business module here, and you can create the recovery jobs very quickly and more clearly, and also the CDB recovery. Let's take the virtualization recovery for example. And firstly, I want to introduce you the cross-platform restore. And we can see all the backup points here. And let's choose the target restore point. And for the cross-platform restore, we can choose to restore this point to virtualization, private cloud, public cloud, and even the physical server. Let's take the virtualization for example, and I will restore this point into the VMware. And when we select the target host, Vinchin will automatically scanning the target platform info. And here, if we restore the multiple VMs, we can enable this unified configuration. And also you can see a detailed description about this feature here. And we can select the restore the storage and the network configurations. As I just select a single restore point, I will configure this VM configuration manually. And in the VM general configuration, we can set the VM name, the CPU, and the CPU architecture, the RAM, and the operating system. For the cross-platform restore, Vinchin will perform a rough match between the original platform and the target platform. We need to manually select the operating system type and its version. If this type and version is not matched, we may encounter the driver detection failure. So please pay attention that those two values are correct. And for the second part is VM virtual disk. We can select the disk storage is by default, we will automatically choose the disks with the largest capacities. We also can manually choose another storages. In advanced configuration, we can set the disk provision settings and the interface here. And for the virtual network, we can select the network and even configure the advanced settings like the type and the MAC address. And even we can modify network settings. This is the new feature about version 9. We can set the IPv4 and IPv6 settings automatically and with automatic methods or manually typing the IP address and the network and the gateway. With these settings, I believe it can greatly avoid the IP conflict if we power on the VMs afterwards. And for the advanced strategies, we can see the target VM folder where we will restore this VM and configure the scripts after we finish the recovery process. We can manually input the scripts to perform some special operations and also can select the scripts you have uploaded to Vinchin platform in advance. For example, I just uploaded this script. And next is the system settings. We can choose to reset the BIOS UID here. But pay attention that this feature is only supported for VMware currently. And the second one is whether to power on the VM and reset the host name of the stored VMs. After we have finished the configuration, we can start the driver detection. Here you can see it has passed the driver detection process, and then we can click next. Script. Let's disable the script. Sorry, I just want to check for another. And select the target host. Finish the select the operating system type and the version, and pass the driver detection. Then next, we can configure the restore strategies like start time and the throttling policy and the transfer strategies. For transfer these VMs, we support transfer compressions. This method is compress the data from the VMware side, which will greatly decrease the transfer load. For more detailed information about these three different compression methods, you can refer to the node button here. And also we can configure the transfer thread. In version 9, we support perform a various scan before we starting the restore process. For the scan strategies, we supported three strategy, which is the interrupted recovery after encountering the scan virus or disinfect and then recovery or recover to an offline environment, which is in our isolated DR lab. And for the scan engine, I just authenticated this Clam AV. And for the scan target, it's the same with the backup process. And for the integrity check, before we start the restore process, it will automatically check the data integrities. If we encounter data crash, we can stop the recovery job on failure or just continue the backup restore job on failure. And for the advanced strategies, it's also the same with the backup jobs, which is a retry strategy and the node resource limits. And then after finishing the configuration, we can submit this cross platform recovery job here. And it will be automatically created in the monitor center jobs. And next, I will introduce you another two types of recovery methods, which is the granular restore and the instant restore. For the granular restore, you may have some leads that you want to restore some specific files or folders in the VM, but you don't want to restore the whole VMs because it's really time consuming. So you can use our granular restore feature to meet your requirements. The first step is also choose the target restore point. And we need to manually select the operating system about this backup data. Pay attention that this system type must matches and the security strategy and the advanced strategies. Since this recovery takes some time, and I just prepared a granular restore job in advance. Let's take a look. Here you can see I just created a private cloud granular store, and you can see the run log of this granular restore job here, and its folders and files will be listed on the right side. In version 9, we supported the three file transfer methods, which is downloaded from the website, and client transfer and network sharing. For the website download, it can download the target folders or files into your local device directly, and the time depends on the file size, and the time will depending on the file size. And also we can support here you can see that it has finished the download process. And the second method is the client transfer. We can transfer these folders to the different systems, VMs or servers. But pay attention that you need to deploy a Vinchin agent on the target server. And the server will be listed here, and you can choose the target server and set the file save path. Let's save it in the temp directory. And also we can choose whether to preserve the file permission and skip the directory tree recovery. If there are the same name files on the target server, we have three methods to handle this situation. The first is rename the file directly and skip the file or overwrite the files. For the first and for the more detailed descriptions about these three methods, you can refer to the notice here. For override methods, you can choose the override rules. And the first one rules is override the destination site if it's inconsistent, or keep the latest version and the destination site if inconsistent. And click the OK button to finish the transfer job configuration. It takes some time to connect the target host and prepare the environment for transferring. And the next one is the network sharing. This method is based on the SMB protocol, and it will Vinch will create a network link. And please pay attention that this transfer method is only supported for folders, not the single files. After we click on the network sharing, you need to set the account and password. And we also can configure the access restrict. By default, we will set the no restrictions, and we also can custom the IP address here. Only those added IP can visit the shared link. This method is just like we visit the CFS sharing. And then we can take a view or take an overview of the transfer job. And here you can see the client transfer job status. And for the network sharing job, you can see the status here and the mount comment here for different restore purpose. For the granular restore, it will create an embedded DR lab of Vinci, and we can take an overview of this lab. Here, this is the lab created for granular restore job, and you can see the status is power on, and we can also see the console of this embedded DR lab. Here you can see we have logged into uh, this lab. And then the next recovery method is the instant restore. For some critical VMs, if it's unfortunately it is down, we can use the instant restore job to resume your business quickly. And first one is also select the target restore point. And we can make the instant restore to the virtualization platform, private cloud, and even the DR lab in Vinchin system. And I want to mention that for the Hyper-V platform, although we don't support instant restore to the Hyper-V, but we make a breakthrough that we can restore the Hyper-V to our embedded DR lab. But pay attention that the instant restore, well, although we can instant those backup data to our DR lab, we don't support migrate those VMs to the original platform. Let's select the VMware, and also it will uh, automatically scanning the target platform. And also we need to set the VM configurations. This is almost like the cross platform restore. And it also requires us to pass the driver detection here. And then click the next button. We can continue to configure the restore strategies. In the general store strategy, we can see the mount point IP. And for the mount protocols, we will use the NFS service by default. And also we can configure the access IP access to this instant restore VMs is the same like the granular restore. And for other strategies, it's almost the same. So basically, this is the changes for the backup and restore configurations. And next, let's
Okay, colleagues, let me continue to the second part, the public functions and the system security functions of the Vinchin. Okay, let's dive into this part. Okay, for the system, this version we changed something. We merged the Vinchin server and Vinchin node in the same ISO package. You can when you install the ISO, you can select which version which one you want to install, the ISO or the Vinchin server or the Vinchin node. And for the single ISO, the server node and node now share one image. Select the type at boot. And for the local node, DB supports cluster failover with the sub to master promotion and add nodes directly from the server UI and no menu commands required. For the backup resource limitation, now the maximum concurrent jobs we can set and the prohibit job execution period we can set. And here are some limitation you need to notice. The backup jobs are restricted by the default when limit is active. And override option, ignore the node resource limit available in job settings. And for the restore jobs are not restricted by default. We need to prevent the node overload and crashes and also want to enable the concurrency control for large-scale backup environments. For the backup resource scripts management, we extend the standard features with customer scripts for the greater DR flexibility. How to use it? You can follow these steps, these guides to use the script. And for the support modules, the database and various the normal database and the recovery, the server protection, and also the real-time part, the migration part are all supported. In this version, what we also add the backup cluster for Vinchin itself. It contains one Vinchin server and multiple Vinchin nodes, and merged into a HA cluster with a failover. To ensure the high availability. So what's the key features? First, the class node monitoring. It's the real-time status tracking of all nodes. Second, the server failover via the heartbeat automatically promotes a subnode to master upon server failure, ensuring uninterrupted service. And third, the VIP access. You can access this cluster through the VIP. And four, automatic load balancing eliminates the manual job distribution across nodes. Workload is balanced automatically. This is the structure of the cluster. And for the backup cluster, it's Vinchin support to check the cluster logs in the manage center logs, high availability logs. And you can also check these different service logs in the backend log through this path. And for the backup node, the this is the cluster composition. A cluster node can be either a server or a node. And second, the node capabilities. Each node may have management or or the compute functions. The server node always include the management and compute can be added or removed. And node support flexible enablement of both functions. What's the role assignment? Only the node with the management capability can join as a cluster members. The cluster maintains one active management node. Others remain on standby. And nodes with compute capability execute backup and restore jobs. And what's the connectivity? Clients and virtualization platforms connect via the cluster VIP, and internode communication use each node's own IP. Here are the configurations and usage for the prerequisites. You can go to this node menu and add two or more nodes with the management capability. And cluster configuration entry also in this backup resource class management in this is the path. And for cluster configuration steps, you need to set the cluster's name, cluster VIP address, set the heartbeat interval, and select at least two management capability nodes. And what the operations cluster of the cluster management. You need to start the cluster and set the you can also set the switch, the menu failover or stop the and you can stop the cluster, modify the configuration by click edit configuration. And you can also check the operation logs in the monitor center HA log, and you can also set the VIP for the redirection. Then the user can directly access to the VIP. And how the clusters work or failover process. This is the process. The equal weight for all nodes. Only one active node exists for each purpose. Job execution has no primary standby distinction. And the clients connected via AIP and heartbeat monitoring triggers failover and next step the resources pools checked every 10 seconds. And the stop and the last step is the to ensure the standby nodes auto reconnected. Then this cluster HA can be available. And how to in this version, we can set the backup clusters and also can set the resource pool for some high availability of all these different resources. We support the compute resource pool, the storage resource pool, proxy resource pool, and the network resource pool. And what's the difference between of the cluster and this resource pools? The clusters provides high availability for the backup system itself. The resource pools provide HA and load balancing for the various resources. So this resource pools can also function with the cluster for combined and HA at all levels, or be used independently. Pools have no binding relationships with each other. So here are four different resource pool for different types. The computing resource pool consists of the node with the computing capability. It consists of storage attached to nodes and the three subtypes. Each pool accepts only one storage type. And for the storage resources pool, it is centralized it's supposed the centralized storage pool, the NAS storage pool, cloud storage pool, and here you need to notice the NAS storage is auto-mounted and to all computer nodes by default. And for the proxy resource pool, it consists of service module proxies agents connected to the nodes, exclude host clients. And for the last one, the network resource pool, it consists of networks attached to a single node. not uh, aggregated cross nodes and not related to backup source networks. Uh, Here's the comparison of the four different resource pool. You can check when you need to uh, set these different types of the the poor resources. You just need to notice some the restriction with the right level. Yeah. Here are also some restrictions about this resource pools for some use. But don't worry about this. We will always improving the performance of these technologies. And for the backup clusters, resource pool this is the resource pool operation logic. How to ensure the high availability when resources to go offline and when to relocate the resource to jobs. It will checks it will checks resources every 10 minutes, every 10 seconds, retries every 5 seconds, and after 120 seconds of the job failed or offline, it will reassign the pending jobs, assign the new resources. And when does the loading balance occur? It will before the each job execution. And how are the resources selected? What the role are used to select and allocate resources? Uh, Here are some scenarios. First, the offline resources are excluded. Second, for each available resource, the system checks whether any single load metric exceeds its threshold. If so, that resource is excluded. And third, from the remaining resources, the one with the lowest overall load is selected. And fourth, if all resources exceeded a load threshold, the system will select the one with the lowest overall load among them. And here are some scenarios support and important notes. For the supported failure scenarios, when the Vinchin server breakdown, first the master node crash. Second, the master node networks outage, and master node shutdown, master node power loss. And what the scenarios do we not support? What first, if the centralized storage failure, we do not support. And second, the backend service process failure, also not supported. And here are some notes you need to you need to care about when you set the cluster for Vinchin. Well, the cluster is running, only no addition allowed. Other configure changes require stopping the cluster first. And snapshot taken on the master node after enabling cluster may freeze the I/O and causing the heartbeat failure. And field over takes time. Avoid frequent master node power cycling. Stop cluster or configure the hardware software before starting. Fourth, all nodes offline simultaneously unsupported. Power on original master node first during the recovery. And these architectures of the nodes can be added to the same server, but cannot form a cluster. The next, for failure of any critical service, disables the HA. And for upgrades, you need to stop cluster first and upgrade all nodes, then restart the cluster. And here are some general strategy. maybe we already introduced this retry strategy. A multiple level retry strategy to improve job success rates across the various exception scenarios. Here are the network retry, operation retry, and job retry. Uh, it is easy to understand. The network retry just reconnects and resume the jobs from the interruption point after a network outage. And the operation retries field the root operations. And for the job retry, only that means automatically reruns the field job. Yeah, it is easy to set, and very useful in your job to prevent some accidents. Uh, here here's an advanced strategy, the storage settings. To optimize its the data handling efficiency for file creation and merge, you can apply it on server and virtual machine modules. What's this? You can set the data file share size. The backup point storage is organized by this value, and the data field creation and the reclamation both operate at this chunk size. Data file fragments are smaller, resulting in more efficient data processing during backups and the faster comparison of changes during merge and recovery. And this is the introduction about merge redundant data proportion. During the data merge, invalid data is identified and evaluated for cleanup. A, a quantifiable threshold is required to determine when cleanup should occur. And trigger rule. The cleanup is triggered when the amount of redundant data exceeds single chunk size and with the times merge redundancy ratio. To trigger the cleanup more frequently, lower this issue. To defer cleanup and retain more historical data, increase this ratio. And if the chunk size is modified after the job is has already run, the next job will downgrade in performance or efficiency. And you can also set the scripts. Use scripts when creating jobs. Different business models support the use of scripts at the different stages. And next, I'd like to introduce the ransomware and integrate verification. Here, the very useful storage protection button also means also it is covered by the program, our BDP program, to prevent malicious destruction or tampering with backup data and the backup system in the background. Security measures have been enhanced beyond the existing ones. Before the version 9, we have one we have some methods to keep the data security, and like the VDP and some other features. And for the integrity check, here's some limitations. Scheduled backup only support. The real-time protection not support. Hardware storage failures are detectable and checks only for the data changing. So here's the mechanism for the integrated check. When the integrated check is enabled for the job, the metadata checksum key is generated and stored encrypted on the backup storage after each backup completes. During the integrated check, the system recalculates the current metadata checksum key for the restore point and compares it with the original stored key to determine if any changes have occurred since the restore point was created. And here are some configurations. Here are some configurations about the integrated check. Uh, I think Trudy has already introduced some operations about the integrated check. Yeah, you can see there here when when you set the fallback point exception, you can select the redo for backup or abort the backup. And for the incremental backup point exception, you can select the redo for backup, redo incremental backup, and abort the backup. And verification during the recovery, you can verify the selected point in time and its independent points. And for the handling integrated verification exceptions, you can select the abort recovery, continue recovery, resume recovery in an offline environment. And next part is the worm and the virus scan. Maybe for the previous part, we mentioned about the storage protection, and in this part, we will introduce the worm. Maybe, uh, maybe someone confused, will be confused about what is the storage protection, uh, the what is the ransomware protection, and what is a worm. That the difference between the worm and the ransomware protection. The rest we talk about. It's let me clarify it. We use worm, it will protect all the operations from the web or from your job configurations. No one can select or modify the backup from the web console. But if you enable the ransom protection, it will protect the uh, Vinchin system from the backend. That means no one can attack your system from the from your backend from your system. That is the different. So let's continue to discuss the worm. Worm is a storage feature that allows data to be written once and read many times. And it mainly used for the long-term retention for critical data and prevents the unauthorized alteration. Mm. Well, the key features is the immutability and the non-deletability. So worm addresses the flaws in traditional storage protection, which could not prevent malicious deletion by admins or overriding by repeated invalid backups. So also this worm was also provided by our VDP program, loaded automatically with the system kernel. Once the worm retention period is set, backups cannot be deleted by any means before the expiration, including the root user deletion from the backend, admin deletion via the web console, the retention policy execution. So when worm is enabled, VDP marks backups and records an expiration time using an independent internal clock. VDP monitors the system time and adjusts the worm period accordingly. During the protection, VDP blocks all deletion or modification. When expired, The watermark is removed and allow the normal retention, merging, and the manual deletion. Okay, that's the difference. This page introduces the difference between the ransomware protection and the worm. I think that everyone knows this now. And for the third party and native worm, the for the cloud storage, we support the integration with the cloud object locking for object level immutability. And for native worm, implemented via the VDP for local storage and devices without the building worm. And what's the usage and important considerations of the worm? All scheduled protection modules, replication, and archive archival jobs of support the worm. You just need to go to the resources, storage management, backup storage, and when you add in the storage, you remember to enable the worm configuration first. And the second step, when you're creating the certain job, you need to enable the worm protection under the security policy for this job. Yes, for this job. And third and the last step in the backup data, you can view the backup data details to set or adjust the worm retention period for the specific restore points. That's the configurations. And here are some notes about the worm protection. Worm must be enabled on the storage on the storage itself. And worm retention period is calculated from the time backup completes. If an incremental restore point is created, the worm protection period of the associated for backup will be updated to match the latest incremental points worm period. Uh, and once the worm is enabled on the storage, it cannot be disabled and the storage cannot be deleted. If any backup data within it is still under worm protection, that this is a very important to just remember it when you set the backup strategies. And the data under the worm protection is exempt from the retention policy enforcement and will not be merged. The worm the worm retention period for backup data can only be extended, not shortened or cancelled. The paper the error incremental and worm truly exclusive because the error incremental requires the merging restore points, which conflicts with the worm immutability. And for the shared storage and SAN storage, worm protection only prevents local tampering or deletion within the backup system. It cannot prevent the destructive actions performed directly on the storage side. And for customers with the strict ransomware protection requirements, it is recommended to deploy the backup appliance using the local storage and the backup target. And next is our virus scanning introduction. Our the backup data may already contains many viruses. Restoring from the infected backups can lead to the secondary infection. So to address this, we provide the ability to scan the backup data in the embedded isolated environment and remove virus files during the restore. All modules that perform the server backups and the other module they are supported. The virtualizations, the public cloud and private cloud, they are supported. And some like this and the other modules for the applications, the files, the database, they cannot support the virus scanning. And now we support open source Cloud AV and the commercial, the Kaspersky, these two different engines. Let's take a look about this mechanism. The backup data is mounted to a temporary host spun up within the embedded isolated environment. That means the Vinchin DR lab. And the second, the antivirus engine scans all the data and flag the detected virus files. And the third step, only during the restore, the virus files can be cleaned before the recovery, ensuring a secure restoration. This feature depends on the recovery geo platform. Yes, Vinci's DR platform. So it is recommended to enable the VT for this machine for your Vinchin server. And so what's the benefits? What's the benefits about this new feature? It provides the isolated scanning environment and the scan the data in this embedded virus antivirus engines, no data, explore, tamper-proof, and fully automatic. So necessary and very secure for the user's data. Okay, so here are three different interface to set the virus scan. You first when you set the backup jobs, you can configure the scan, the virus scan. And if you can also set independent. You can also set an independent verification job. After all the backups finished, you can create this verification job to verify the data. Or the last way is to set the virus scan when you perform the restore and take over jobs. Then you can enable the virus scan to this is the last defense, to scan the virus. So there are three ways. Just do it according what you want. And okay, for the database, for the virus database management, Vinchin can always provide the updated packages for our customers. So don't worry about this. Once the Kaspersky or some AV update the package, where we will release and send the new packages to our customer. And the last one, next one, I'd like to introduce our DR lab. So what's the usage of the Vinchin's DR lab? We support when we use when we use the Vinchin's features, we will utilize the Vinchin's DR lab with like the granular restore, cross-platform restore, instant restore, takeover, verification, and virus scan. Uh, all these features are powered by the Vinchin's DR lab. Yeah. Okay, so just let me finish the second part, introduction, and transfer to Trudy.
Okay, I will show you the various verification modules. And for the verification, we have two verification methods. First is for recoverable verification, and the second one is the backup data verification and the security scan. For the first method, we will restore the backup data to our DR lab, which is an isolated environment. And with this method, we can check if the object can boot normally, and also check the network connectivity. And for version 9, we have changed the verification workflow. We need to choose the verification type, which is automatic verification or manual verification. For the automatic verification, we can generate a verification report to you after we finish the whole process. And also it can allow us to choose automatically build the verification lab or manually create the verification lab. You choose the second one, you need to manually prepare the lab in the verification lab here. You can see that we have manually created 3 labs, the verification lab list. And I also want to mention that we introduced an application group, which is used for some scenarios like the verify some other merchants need to power on when we do the verification job for the backup object. And so you can create the VMs in the application group, and those VMs in those application groups will run before the verification jobs, and it will remain power on until we finish the verification process. Here you can see I just prepared an application group in advance, and also you can check the details. Let's take a look how we can create a verification job. And here you can select the application group, and also can see the application groups I have prepared in advance, and the VMs will be displayed on the right side. And also we need to check the driver detection. And configure the target objects CPU architecture and the network configurations. Let's set a random IP address. And click next, we come to the verification job strategies. Firstly is a general configuration. We can set the boot mode by the time strategy or verify the objects now. And in the advanced strategies, we can see the backup node IP address and the number of concurrent valid objects, and also the know the resource limits. I have just prepared a verification job in advance, and let's take a look. Verification job 1. You can see that this job has finished already. And we can take a look of the verification object list. And also, we can see the history jobs about this verification, and also the verification report. Here we can see that the job will finished. Like the integrity check of this object and the verification, network verification, and the heartbeat test is also completed without issue. And here you can see the screenshot. And next, I will show you the resources, infrastructures we have improved in our version 9. You can see you can add the different infrastructures here, and you can have a clear look of different modules. For the agent and the proxy section, we have improved the section. Here you can see we can click on the option button and uh, see the details of this agent, like the host name, operating system, and the agent version. And also we can download the client logs for more quickly. And this is more easily for us to do the troubleshooting. And we can also set up agent groups. With this, this means the clients with the same usages can be grouped into some special groups. And when we create the backup tasks afterwards, we can select those objects by the agent group. For example, in our server backup, we can see those groups: default group, replication, and WinPE. And we also have the proxy resource pool. This is used to guarantee the availability of proxy transmission. Um, greatly decrease the failure rate of backup tasks caused by the proxy offline. And also we can generate the boot image here more quickly, and you don't need to contact Vinchin staff to obtain the images. For example, we can generate the different operating system type like Linux and Windows. For Linux, we support those two system architectures, but for Windows, we only support this architecture. And for the image type, we support the two types of images, which is system restore image and driver repair image. For the system restore images, we can set the agent communication mode in two types. The first one is agent connect server. If we select this method, the live the live CD will automatically connect the Vinchin system. It don't requires you to do some more specific scripts or operations. And the second one is the server connection, connect the agent. And also we can set the IP of those images with two methods, automatic IP or manual IP. Here you can add the IP info, and it will configured in those images. And I just prepared images in advance. Let's take a look. So here you can see the pages of our live CD. We have you can manage those images with those five settings, and also check the status of those live CD images. And we can see that the IP, the IP of those the IP of these images, I just set it in Vinchin system. And next is the new features of version 9. We support the Kubernetes cluster backup. You can add the Kubernetes cluster here, and Vinchin provided the three methods to add the cluster. The first one is manually add, and the second one is the most recommended method. Add the clusters via SSH for remote client deployment, and the last one is add via cluster connection configuration file for remote client deployment. And I just add the cluster, one cluster in another environment, and we can take we can take a look. Here, you in the infrastructure and the Kubernetes client cluster client management, you can see the Kubernetes. I have added in advance, and the status and the work nodes and the master nodes status. And the next is the backup resources. The first is module is backup node. This is the Vinchin system node, including the server node and the slave node. And I have the server node, this one, and for the server node, it will have the management function by default, and we also can enable the computation management computation feature for this node. In this way, this node will have the management and computing computing feature. Backup jobs will use the computation feature. And for the slave node, we can set it with management function and computation function. And also we have we have introduced the computing resource pool, which means those nodes will consist of one compute resource pool, and only the node with computation function can be added in those resource pool. And here you can see a topology diagram of those nodes. And here you can see the network configuration and the storages on each node. And the next new feature is the resource limitations. This is the configurations we need to prepare in advance before we create the backup or recovery jobs. We can set the configuration by default or enable these configurations afterwards, and set the max minimum concurrent jobs, which means how many jobs can run on this single node, and the prohibit job execution period, which means during this period some jobs cannot running, and we can also choose whether to apply those configurations to other nodes. And the next is script management. This is the scripts for some special operations after we finish the recovery or backup. And the next is the various database management. We can see a full databases info here, and we support the Kaspersky and ClamAV, and we can also update those various databases here. And also we have some guidances. You can follow this guidance to download the database files and upload here. It will automatically upload the various databases in Vinchin system with the offline upgradation. So basically, this is this is what we optimized in our version 9 regarding those two sections, and let my colleague Essen to continue the presentation.
Okay, everyone. This is the last part. Just share you some update about the web interface. This is this is a very small and easy part. Okay, here's some changes about the menu part. We there's a significantly reduced number of the menu items. We combine the different modules into this backup, CDP, and replication part to the minimize the navigation. And now it is a unified data view. All module specific backup data sections are now merged into the single data management entry. And here are the some good effects: improve the navigation experience and clear product capability mapping reflects the three core data protection pillars. Just all the features just contains in these three pillars: the scheduled backup, the CDP, and the replication. And for the homepage, here's some modification. The first, the data protection objects are divided into three main categories: the scheduled backup, the CDP replication. And second, each category of the data objects is simplified and displayed as a list consisting of the field of the name and the number. And defects are the object categorization aligned with the navigation bar, and the display of detailed information is cleaner and clear. For the data visualization screen, first, the UI layout tightened toward center to reduce empty space. And second, the data categories now align with the navigation bar. And third, added backup data volumes, trend statistics. Next part, the monitor center web. What have we optimized? First, we added the queued jobs. It shows the jobs queued due to the reduced shortage. The tape jobs when drivers are busy, and verification jobs when system resources are insufficient. Other job types not included. And second, the job orchestration added the replication job type support. And third, the job details added a single drawer to display job configuration details, improving the uh, readability for jobs with numerous settings. And next, the history jobs now includes all the run logs for history jobs for easier troubleshooting. And next, five, the HA logs records cluster, node, and the resources switch events. And in the monitor center, the system page, we moved the system log to from the logs to the system page. The download button system logs button has been moved to this monitor center system interface. And next, the data resilience for the data resilience part. The we centralize all backup data operations into one entry port. The restore, takeover, verification, copy, and archive are now all presented from the backup object perspective. And operation entries are centralized in one place, eliminating the difficulty of locating module-specific operations for first-time users. And for verification workflow recorded, select the verification method first, then select the verification target, edit application group for orchestrating verification of the group of the related hosts. Add it all to build the RLab. And for the resources web, in the infrastructure page, all infrastructure items are consolidated and displayed by backup object and added Kubernetes cluster management for new business modules. And for the agent and proxy, added proxy pool for backup cluster scheduling and improved job success rates. And next, added the bootable image download, uh, Live CD and WinPE. And in the storage page, we added the storage resource port to resolve the issue where the job would fail if its bound storage went offline, despite having multiple storages available in prior versions. And second, storage is no longer categorized by purpose. All storage now general purpose, removing the previous usage logic restriction on backup or copy data. And third, type the tape management pages consolidated into a single page with the tab switching. And in the backup resource module, the backup resource part, we optimize the cluster management, driver library management, and script management. And for the backup node part, we added the compute resource pool and node limitations, and also the network resource pool. And in the system and license web. For the storage security, we rename it to ransomware protection. And in the system security, we added the API security, enabled to verify API signatures. And in the auditing security, redesigned and supports on-demand retention policies and automatic cleanup for expired logs. In message push, now support both TCP and UDP syslog. And we also add the API key management used for authentication when the centralized management platform connects to the backup system. And in user management, domain server added the protocol selection when adding the domain servers. And here's the new system license. We optimize some appearance about the license count. Okay, so this is some appearance changes on the website. Please, Trudy to show for us.
Okay, I will show you the rest part. I need to introduce the cluster management of Vinchin system. If we have enabled multiple Vinchin nodes, we can set the Vinchin clusters to enhance system high availabilities. If when we run in the cluster mode, if the primary loads fails, the system will automatically set another available node as a primary node. Let's see the configuration. First, we need to set the cluster name and the cluster virtual IP address. This IP is used to access the systems. if we have enabled the clusters and manage the whole Vinchin platform. And also we need to set the cluster heartbeat intervals. If the node fails and in the recover in this interval, the cluster failover will automatically trigger. And only the nodes with the management capabilities can be added to the cluster. And then click OK button to submit the configurations. And here you can see the cluster relationships on the right side. And we also can edit the configurations and manually start the cluster. Then you can say this backup server will use the virtual IP we have configured. We need to firstly solve all the tasks in advance. And then we can start the Vinchin cluster. Here you can see the cluster logs and the operation process, and also the service IP. And next is I want to introduce you the jobs. For the history jobs, so version 9 can support to view the run logs of those history jobs. With this feature, we can better to locate the issues afterwards. And for the job orchestration plan, version 9 supports to add the replication job to those orchestration plan. And we also have the queued jobs. Those are the jobs for the verification or the type backup jobs. If the system resources is not sufficient, the jobs will be listed here and waiting to start. And finally, I want to introduce the management of those backup data. You can view the backup data in two methods. The first is view by modules. You can check those different module backup data stored in those different types. On the right side, it will show the backup data by jobs or by the backup objects. We can view the detailed information of those backup data. Here you can see the data verification status and integrity check. and a worm protection, various scan of this bank data, and also can do some special operations like set the long-term retention policy for this special bank data. Set as worm protection, and also we can create the restore jobs for this backup data here more quickly. So basically this is all the changes and improvements in our version 9. So it's time for some questions. You can write your questions in our chat box, and we can have a check. For the license requirement of clusters, one license for the cluster function is provided by default. I think it don't require the additional license for configuration this cluster. Well, how is the secondary failover is where, and how is this and the primary is offline, which is so you mean the how to detect the node status and trigger the failover of this cluster, right? I think. Okay. We have enabled the heartbeat intervals when configure the clusters. If the node is enter the exception and it didn't restore during those during the heartbeat intervals, the clusters will trigger the failovers automatically, and the operations will be recorded in the run logs here. If you have any other questions, please feel free to ask. And here you can see the IP is changed to the VIP of a cluster, and it requires us to log in with this IP. You can see the VIP and log into the system. And we can see that the Vinchin cluster is started successfully. Oh, the license issue. Okay. Um, we can see this in the license page, and we have authenticated the backup node number. If we have enough, we have sufficient node numbers which can uh, to consist of the backup cluster. If we want to show which to which to infection. Okay, I think you can show the virtualization backup and the new features of Vinchin version 9, like clusters and Kubernetes backup. And also we have the CDP and replications. You can uh, you can you can ask the customer's requirements in advance. I think it's better to make the strongest impression. So, do you have any other questions? For the real replication, is the real-time replication. Yes, it is a real-time replication, and the RPO and RTO is nearly zero. And when we initialize the replication the first time, and it will enter the CDP backup status to guarantee the continuous data protection. I think we have the replication job. Here, here is the replication job, and then you can see the job data flow directions here and the data flow. And we can see that this replication job is in the CDP backup phase. And also we can configure the failovers for this replication job. So do you have any other questions? If you have any other questions, you can also send it to us afterwards. We will happy to answer it. Okay, we have the question: how many medium bandwidth we need to for synchronize replication? Oh, the bandwidth, I think it depends on the data size, and maybe you can confirm this with our pre-sales team, and please share your detailed environment information, and they can help you to check the configuration and more detailed information. And do I have attention? Oh, yes, we can provide support. Um, we can provide the support on the night. We have co-workers on duty during the night, and so you can reach out. You can reach for reach to us anytime you want. It's a bit level or block level replication. Issue means the jobs related to SAN4 HCI. Oh, for the SAN4 HCI job configurations, maybe you can contact our teams later, and we can provide you the detailed presentation since today's time is up. I have a question which have a no memory engine feature. Currently the replications is agent-based feature. I think we will support the agent nurse feature in the future, but it needs some time. I have a server and data to save my the data. So starts. Copy and replication. Location. Sorry, you mean replicate the backup data to a second server on the DR side? You can copy those backup data to DR side storages uh, for second guarantee and for the replication. I think it won't overwrite the data. Other questions? Yes, we have the email notification, and you can configure the notification here. Let me show you. Here you can see the email notification, and we can test the emails before check if we can reach into those email. And we can send those system job status and alert job failure information to the emails like there, this. And not for asking the server to server replication. Yes, it's server to server, like this replication job, right? This server to server, the original server and the standby host. Report style. Okay, here we have the report. We can generate a report here for different jobs. Add the report template and select the template type. We supported, you can see a wide range of reports here. For example, the job reports include the successful job and customize the data. And click OK. And we can take a overview of this report.
Vinchin Backup and Recovery. Back IT up now.